What is up, everybody? We are live, supposedly everywhere. Welcome.
Awesome.
We're gonna figure this out one of these days. It just gets better and better. Yeah. And for those of you who are wondering what am I doing with my camera over here, I'm setting up our live stream into the TikTok land as well. So we're gonna be simulcasting, quadruple casting, whatever we can do, wherever we can go.
However many castings.
Shane should have the link, so he should be joining us soon. We'll continue our conversation of awesomeness.
So if you guys have any questions, any thoughts or comments, just shoot them into the comments. We'd love to be able to react and interact with you guys too while we're doing the live. So just make sure that
absolutely
you're participating there.
Here we go.
Ooh, we got a couple people.
Nice. Live. Flip that.
Where did Shane go?
I don't know where he went.
Oh, there he is.
I'm here waiting.
That was weird. It wasn't letting you in.
No, we have to add him to the. Anyways.
Oh, I didn't have the feature to add you.
I just barely got the link too. Just barely got it. So I was Johnny on the spot with the link.
Nice.
So I tried to add you as an admin. It only gives us 2 seats apparently. So that was lame.
All right.
But yeah. Why is this not giving me my normal buttons? I can't flip my camera.
I realized that, the jacket in the background is causing problems with my...
There we go.
Green screen?
No.
I think it was matching with your hat.
Yeah, I'm blending in. So what was up with the piano?
Yeah, who's got piano lessons?
Not my house.
It was my son. He was playing the piano, so I asked him to stop.
Okay, I'm super annoyed with TikTok right now. It just flipped my camera out and gave me a filter I can't turn off. Can't even show you guys because I'm plugged in. It's messed up. What the? Anyways, I'm going to just end that. Try that again. TikTok's being stupid as all get out. Oh. Anyways, welcome. All right, welcome. This is a new podcast. We've got group in the studio. Hopefully you guys are in there commenting. We are live. You got some people showing up in the chat?
No, we only have one viewer, and I think it's me over here on my on my YouTube. So let's just kick it off like a normal, so that we at least have somewhere to edit when we pop it in there, and then we'll go.
Perfect.
Once you're up and running, get your live going.
Okay, now we're working it. All right, we're working. Let me flip this. I don't know what happened, but it was not working. Flip camera.
You already got 7 viewers in there.
I really need cooler technology stuff. We're going to swap this out. Make my life easier. All right. Welcome to Prepper Talk Radio. The future of insanity is upon us. And we are not insane. Okay, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2. Hey guys, welcome back. It is Scott, Shane, and Paris with Prepper Talk Radio. We are live yet again. And this time, for those of you catching us on the recorded version, you could have caught this live if you were part of our Facebook group. Make sure you go over to Prepper Talk Radio on Facebook, and you can find that link right there to emergency prep and self-reliance. And this episode is brought to you by the Ready Summit. Get your tickets 10% off using the code Prepper Talk. Just head on over to thereadysummit.com. And we've got some comments already popping in. Welcome, everybody. And we've got some other people wanting to go live with us. That's not happening. It's just going to be us today. So the topic of the day is, what can we do to better stretch the things that we have, better reduce our expenditures, right? Better prep on the daily. And one of the best things that I've actually come across is, if you don't have meat being produced on your property, you can go into the store every morning and they're getting rid of the meat from the day before or the 2 days before, and it's discounted. Yeah. Now, the discount isn't as good as the discount was 4 or 5 months ago, but it's almost the price of what it was 4 or 5 months ago before the discount. It's better than what it is today. Mm-hmm. But then you can bring it home and you can can it, or you can cook it and freeze dry it, or just go on a complete carnivore diet and enjoy that. But you can can that. You can can that so quickly, and you don't need a pressure canner. And that will help you stretch your dollar. That will help you until you can start producing your own meat in your own property. It'll give you a leg up on the current situation.
That's a great idea. I had a few things that we were talking about solutions in our last hour as well, and of course I got this long list. This is what I do. I make notes, and it's best to prepare now for what you can see in the future, not for what's happening right now. Right? For what's happening right now, you may not be able to compensate or be prepared for it, but to see what might be coming in the future, it's best to start preparing for that now. Right? Yep. So some of the things, and just to throw this out there, guys, so we can have this maybe as a topic that people can comment on, we can talk about, and so you guys know, this is what I want to talk about. I'm not looking forward to it, but I'm looking forward to when winter comes around, right? We hear all about, blackouts and power shortages and such, all kinds of shortages. And what are you going to do in the winter if your power goes out, right? How are you going to heat your house? So that's one thing that I'm working on a solution for, right? Yeah. And then power. So heat is one thing, power being another part of that same kind of topic. And then also financially, what are the financial solutions out there for us to take care of ourselves as our money continues to devalue and buy less and less, right? Part of the inflation thing, but also part of inflation is devaluation. It's a hidden tax. But, what kind of solutions? I'd like to talk about those kind of solutions for that as well. So anyway, those are just 3 things I got a long list. But
a lot of people come on and they're like, oh, well, I'm just switching to solar. And I'm like, that's great, but solar doesn't heat your house. Mm-hmm. Natural gas heats your house.
Right. But you can also do solar thermal, right? That's not something that's talked about a lot as well. You got the solar photovoltaic where you turn the sun.
Yes.
Now, people, the sun is the generator, right? These power banks you buy, right? Let me show you mine real quick here.
Oh, you disappeared off screen.
This is not a generator. This is not a generator. Sorry, people. Do not call this thing a generator. This is a battery bank. The sun is the generator. The solar panels collect that energy and then store it in the battery bank, right? So all these commercials of people trying to sell you a gasless generator. It's not a generator. It's not a generator. It's a storage device.
Correct.
So but yeah, there's solar thermal, which you can get panels that will collect heat into some type of reflector, some type of dish that will heat a glycol solution, and you can use that in your home for heating. So that's pretty complex topic to talk about. But that is
True.
something you can do for heating, just not solar electric.
Right. You can use propane until propane runs out. Hey, Carson's on with us. We got Mimi jumped in there with us. We got Cloud Angels in there. Man, we got a lot of you guys popping in here. Thanks, guys, for joining us. We're talking about things you can do to kind of stretch the dollar, especially right now. We're kind of in the how to heat your house in the winter, the coming winter. If we do have the grid disabled in any way, or we have things go down for brownouts, blackouts, rolling fun times. I actually lived in California during some of those rolling black and brownouts. Southern California Edison, fantastic sham of a company. They shut down their nuclear plants recently. Just the dumbest things. Everything that works really well, they're getting rid of and replacing with solar. Guys, like solar's great, but it's not a one solution for everything. If you live 100% off grid, you're probably going to rely a lot on wood. We've got some wood in the backyard, but we don't have enough to heat our home for the winter. Like it's not possible. We have a larger house than we need, but we also have it shared. We've got 2 families living here with us, so including ourselves. So we have a shared family situation. We help each other out. We make it work for everybody. But like heating the house without gas and without electricity, we're going to be resorting to propane and logs until we run out of wood. Once the wood's gone, we're at that point, we're going to go to the tea candles. You guys tried this?
The tea lights.
Tea lights under the terracotta pots, which actually works. It's not that great. I've heard some people are like, oh man, it's amazing. It heated the whole room. And I'm like, were you in a closet? Because
right.
Like it doesn't do a whole lot.
Exactly.
But the truth is you don't need a whole lot of heat to keep it livable. It just needs to be
right. You do need a whole lot of heat though to keep your pipes from freezing, right?
Which if we don't have electricity, we're not going to have water pressure.
That's the key is, okay, how do you keep your furnace running? Because most likely if you lose power, we're still going to have natural gas, and that's what we have here in our neck of the woods.
Yep.
More rural parts of Utah, they've got propane. But the question is, do you have a wood burning stove? Do you have a fireplace with an actual chimney? Do you have a natural gas fireplace? Because that could work also. And you should test it to turn all your power off and see if it will still light without power to the switch. The fan won't work, right, without electricity, but you may very well be able to turn that thing on and just have the radiant heat for the fireplace without the fan. But there are ways to hook your generator up or this power banks into that fan, and so you can power your gas fireplace, or even power your furnace fan as well, so your furnace will operate. And those are all things that are going through my mind right now that I'm working out so that I can be prepared for winter, which is still a ways away, so that I already have those solutions taken care of before I need it. And I've practiced and I know exactly how to implement them.
What's funny is Johnny Deep official, he's saying, I've planned to have a metal building with a wood-burning stove to stay warm and cook on during those situations. Oh, sounds very familiar to Shane with his Quonset that Paris and I helped him build. And three of your brothers and your son all spent the day, and we basically lifted up into place this Quonset metal building. Guys, they're more affordable than a regular house.
That was a good day, brothers.
We did a lot of work in one day.
So here's the process. See if you can. Oh man, it's not going to work.
Yeah, as long as you got green screen on, we'll never see any of the stuff you're trying to show us on your phone. But it was awesome to build. It was awesome to be part of. I myself would love to do a couple container cabins and do 3-4 containers and then have geothermal heating and cooling set up. That's like my dream, because you can run geothermal on like almost no electricity. And you're running air into the ground, letting the ground cool it and heat it, right? Heat it during the summer or during winter, because obviously it's cold outside. It's freezing outside where we live. And what's the temperature underground?
55 degrees.
Yeah, that's a
And
lot better than freezing to death.
yeah, and like
Yeah.
solar thermal as well, you can use a glycol solution underground with a heat exchanger. So it gets expensive and it gets redundant, especially if you have a traditional furnace and AC. It's redundant
Yep.
systems, but in the long run, they have longer life and are more reliable. So if you're planning on building new, it might be good to integrate those things in new. But like you're saying before, Scott, is with the candles and such, confine yourself to a small room for heating. You can even put a tent up in that room and just
Mhm.
heat the tent, so you can be comfortable. But yes, how do you keep your water flowing? How do you those types of things when things freeze up?
Even just setting up a tent and sleeping in the tent as a family is warmer than being in that
Hmm.
bedroom as a
Hmm.
family, because you're heating up a smaller space. Just
Yeah.
your body heat alone is going to do a ton for that small space. Johnny Deep is also saying that using a magnifying glass as renewable fire source. As long as the sun's out, you can start a fire, right?
Yeah.
Additional matches. I've actually got this cool little kit that just came. Blackbeard sent me this.
Fire starter.
Well, they didn't send it to. They sent it to me, but I paid for it. And they've got. I've wanted one of these for a while, but they've got this waterproof lighter.
Oh,
Have you seen these?
Is that one of
Little
those USB charged ones?
USB charged, little tiny,
Those look so cool.
pop open. There
plug
we
your
go.
solar panels right into it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
little
for
tiny,
sure.
tiny little lighter. Kind of cool. Just can't see it very well, right?
Yeah, I see
There
it.
we go.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And it's great. Plug it in, recharge it. It's good. But again, whenever the grid's down, we're screwed. You gotta have these things in place now before something goes sideways. Otherwise, when it goes sideways, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, there's only
Yeah.
so much you can do inside. There are safe propane heaters for indoors, but most gas heaters are not safe for indoors. They put off too much CO2 and they'll
Yep.
kill you. So be very careful about what you choose for heating your indoors. The Buddy heaters are really the only brand that I know off the top of my head that are safe indoor propane heaters.
Yeah, I have one of
And
those.
yeah, and they come in all different sizes, up to some larger ones, but still not going to work well for heating your entire house. It's just a room here or there. Take with you and heat the bathroom up, right?
If you catch those that on a sale, I was at Costco the other day and they had the Buddy heaters for like $60 or $70.
Oh yeah,
I think they run on Amazon for, I don't know, 100 or something. But Mr.
yeah. Get them
Heater's
now.
website has them for 165. So
Kind of
yeah,
off
get them.
season.
Yeah. Can you guys hear us
It's-
okay down there? We're getting feedback in TikTok. They can't hear very well. Let me know if you guys can hear us okay. They couldn't read the comments very well because apparently my screen was not set up for that yet. I had to readjust everything. So in the in the interim, we made it work. All right, that's better. They can hear. Cool. So going back, like those propane tanks or those propane heaters, I've got a bunch of those. I've got in-home use ones, supposedly better.
Safe for indoors.
They're safer for indoors, but you're still going to always run into the problem of CO2. Like you're always going to run into the problem with that if you're burning. If you've got improper flow out of the house of your fire from just a regular fireplace, you're going to have problems. Like everything could be an issue.
That's another thing to do before winter is have your chimney checked, right? Because if you have a chimney and it hasn't been cleaned in a long time, it could be a fire hazard and like as well as not vent properly and leave CO2 in your house. So yeah, get those things done now. Yeah, absolutely, when you can before you really need it. And test them and make sure they work. The other thing I was thinking is,
I was going to say they have those heat packs, don't they? Have those heat packs like the I don't know what they're called. I can't remember off the top of my head, but like the hand warmers and heat warmers.
The grabber hand warmers.
Yeah, they just shake them or you snap or whatever you do. The thing it's kind of like a one of those
Mr.
light
Heat snap. Yeah.
So those are good to have a supply of those on hand. I mean, it's going to take I think it's going to take the edge off. It may not, warm you up the whole for the whole day, but shoot, you throw one of those at the end of your sleeping bag or the bottom of underneath your blanket down by your toes. That's something that's really good idea. I mean, just natural things is like get wool blankets, have wool socks, get some, thermal underwear, get some of that stuff that you need on top of things. And quite frankly, make sure you get some Fortress clothing clicking the link in the description below and using our Prepper Talk code to get some discount on Fortress clothing, because that's some fantastic,
Yeah.
things to
Another
have
thing
too.
I was thinking of, and I sent you a picture, Paris, of a generator at Costco. That was a really good deal.
Yeah.
And it's dual fuel, so propane and gasoline. And I hear a lot of news around the world that generators are getting bought up all over the place. Maybe not necessarily here in my neck of the woods, but that's another thing I anticipate a shortage of in the future is generators. Parts can be hard to get for cars, and I think the same will happen for generators as well. So if you have the opportunity, right now, when it's something is still a good price, it might not be a bad idea to pick one up. And here's something that I am working on. I'm going to be very careful how I say this, because you can backfeed a generator into your house. There are videos online into YouTube that you can see how to do that safely. It's not legal unless you do it legally. There are legal ways to do it, because if you're backfeeding a generator into your house, you can potentially backfeed that electricity onto the grid and kill someone, right? A lineman who's working the power lines. But essentially, that's just the simple way to plug a generator into your house without having a whole huge disconnect and all the, which it can be really expensive to get that whole setup with disconnects and everything, probably around $1,000 or more just to set that up. But you can set up just a simple back charge cable to power your house with a generator for really relatively inexpensively. I'm not going to tell you how to do it because I don't want the liability. But if you know what you're doing, you can do it safely.
I actually was at Point Zero Solar's headquarters in Idaho once, and he showed me how he does it.
Okay.
You want to hear the easy way he does it?
How he backfeeds?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He has it plugged into his dryer connection.
Yep.
That's it. Now, guys, if you're going to try this, please do your research first, because I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do it. But he has a shut off between his house and the line.
You have to have it shut off. Yep.
If you don't have that, you're going to hurt somebody really bad if they're working on power lines outside your house, right? That's the problem. And that's why, like in our neighborhood, if you go solar, you can't have batteries unless you have that disconnect. And it's an automatic disconnect, so that when your power's being absorbed from your panels and from your battery, like it automatically shuts off the network for you.
And feeds your house instead of the grid. Yeah.
Yep.
So there's some good videos out there. Like I said, we won't get any more detail, but if you want to learn how to do that, just go to YouTube and search backfeeding. You'll find some good videos.
But it's interesting. You go back in history and you look at how do people heat their homes back in the day. Like my ancestors, when they first got out to the Rockies, they lived in dugouts. And I talked about this a few weeks ago, but I'm like, a dugout's pretty sweet. They dig 4 feet into the ground and build a cabin from that level up. So now you're taking advantage of that 55 degrees underground to keep your tiny little one-room cabin tolerable. So
both summer and winter. Both summer and winter, yeah.
Summer and winter. And I'm like, man, I want to go build one of those now. It's brilliant. We went from that to now we have homes with poor insulation and poor, like, everything about it is just bad. It's designed to be set up as fast as you can and move on to the next one, so you can find another sucker to buy one of these cheap houses.
And if you have a basement, you have a partial dugout anyway, right? I mean, you've got concrete and you've got dirt all around you. So I'm in my basement. The temperature in my basement is under 70 degrees because it's where all the cold air goes from upstairs. It comes down here, and we freeze down here while it's still too warm upstairs.
Yep.
So I love basements. Basements are great space.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of YouTube, we had a comment not too long ago that from Minnie Haven Homestead. She said that apparently she's from Texas, because when the snowpocalypse hit Texas, she did not have her chimney cleaned and checked before and totally regretted it. So that's one of those perfect examples of getting things ready before you need them and having things done before you need it.
Well, and Jester's on our TikTok, and he just said he just plugged his into his hot tub plug.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I've got an RV plug on the side of my house as well, and that's what I'm doing.
Right.
Unplug the RV, back feed into there.
And there's something to be said for wool blankets, not just in your home, but like in your car, in your home, in your shed, in like wherever your tent is. Like, what have wool blankets? They're so valuable. They're so good at holding that and retaining that heat, even wet.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a good thing to have.
Yep.
Good old school. Good to look to the past to prepare for the future type of thing.
In fact, that's
like
exactly
I
what
like to see all the time.
In our Facebook group, Crystal Perkins said the same. Don't only have wool blankets in your home, but have them in every vehicle. So
absolutely,
it's like fantastic advice.
And not just like, okay, don't just go to like your basic survival store and buy those wool blankets. Those are like the thinnest. Like those, that's not a true wool blanket. Like those ones that they're like, hey, here's a wool blanket for $15. Like, here's a wool blanket for $10. Like those ones, I don't even know if the prices are even close to that anymore because I stopped looking at those like a decade. But like, you go to the secondhand stores and you can find wool blankets. People don't like them because they're scratchy, right? But I'm like, you could find them for like $3.
But you also don't need to go spend $400 on those really high quality wool blankets.
Right.
You know, they're really nice. I like nice things, especially things that last a long time, like those old quality wool blankets. But yeah, that's money better spent in other places too. But yeah, do your research on wool blankets too. You're absolutely right, Scott. Some of those blankets are just super thin. Those old military surplus type blankets. So you may have to do some looking around for some of those thicker blankets, and maybe we could find a little link and put that up.
Anything, Double Mint says anything you can get from grandma. Like grandmas, like have been quilting for years, right? My grandma did crochet, so I've got some crocheted Afghans. She didn't do quilting, but I've got friends, moms who did quilting, and we've got some quilts from them. You can get those also, like this summer. Like we're in the summer right now. Now's the time to go find all these things because they're cheap now, right? Focus on getting more food and food storage in. Focus on getting some water set aside, and focus on getting something to resolve your cold days ahead in the winter while it's cheap right now.
Yeah. So here's something I'm trying to do on the cheap for heat as well. I've got the gas insert. And the wife doesn't want me to tear that out because I want to tear it out and put a wood stove in there, right? That can be pretty expensive. A stove can cost you anywhere from a couple $100 to a couple $1,000, and then the stovepipe is going to cost you that much too, probably $2,000 to get that stovepipe, the triple wall stovepipe, out of your house. So it might cost you $2,000 to $4,000 to get a wood stove put in your house, plus tearing out your old gas one. So what I'm actually doing, I bought one of those barrel kits. Have you seen those?
Oh yeah,
fire barrel kits, the Vogelzang wood stove, where you go buy a 55-gallon drum, and then you got to cut into it and put the door on it, put the legs on it, put the vent in it, and so
is it the single barrel or double barrel that you're?
I've got 2 barrels, but I've only got the 1 barrel kit, so I've got the grate for the inside. So yeah, you can do a stacked 2 55-gallon drums to help catch heat and radiate heat. I've got the single barrel kit. I'm going to put that together here.
Are those the metal?
Before winter. Yeah, it's all metal. And then I've got to figure out how to get it vented out of the house too, right? You got to buy the stovepipe for it too, which is again very expensive.
Well, you can get a 45 to so there's a 45 to a window outlet.
Yeah, you can do that too.
They have those locally. If you go over to Ernst & Young, they usually have those in stock.
Cool.
That is one of the best stores. Like if anyone's out in Utah ever, like wherever you're streaming this from, if you're ever out in Utah and you want to see one of the coolest stores, it's not a prepping store, but it is a prepping store. Like it's got an Army Navy surplus in it. It's got hunting and outdoors. It doesn't have like groceries. It's got snacks and stuff, but it has like every crafty thing as well as every other thing that makes sense to have everything that makes sense to have as a prepper, you can pretty much find there. Like they even sell seeds and they've got a garden section, like Ernst & Young, and it had like the coolest lot. Like you could walk around and there was stuff everywhere, and they've cleared the lot, and it's the saddest thing, and they've opened more stores. But I'm like, where's the giant bunker stuff? And where's
talking about the Smith & Edwards?
Or yeah, Smith & Edwards. Why was I saying Ernst & Young?
Because that's an old store, yeah. And
Smith & Edwards is an old store. Smith & Edwards. Yeah, sorry.
Smith & Edwards is pretty awesome. Yeah, definitely awesome. The one in Ogden area and then one in Salt Lake. Yeah.
And awesome. Double Mint just pointed this out. Like, don't go. Well, do those things, but don't let your insurance find out because it will.
Very good comment. Very good comment. Yes, this is a temporary emergency for emergencies only. Absolutely. If you're going to do something like put a wood stove, make sure you do it right, right? But if you need it for emergency, and that's kind of what the barrel idea is it's for an emergency. And I could pipe it out the window or the sliding glass door or something really quick and easy. But yeah, you don't want to burn the house down. Absolutely.
I remember driving through LA and they had those 55-gallon drums sometimes at night. You know, those you drive down
you're
the
just
street.
like a burn barrel, just like a burn
barrel. Yeah,
so
some people would have those.
Yeah, that's another option too. Have a burn barrel or a fire pit out in your backyard. Absolutely.
Yeah. But then you're cold inside still. So whatever whatever you do, there's pros and cons to it. You've got to figure out what's going to work best for you. Like one of the challenges we have right now is it's going to be hitting triple digits next week. Actually this Saturday where I live. And it is not easy to keep your home cool during the summer. When I lived in the South, one of the things that I saw people doing to keep things cooler, instead of running the AC, they would hang wet sheets in the windows. Open all the windows and hang wet sheets, and it would cool the whole home. And I was like, that is brilliant. And I'm like, where did you learn that? And they're like, well, my grandma did it. And my great-grandparents did it. And I'm like, what?
Like an evaporative cooler, just like a swamp cooler, right?
The original swamp cooler was blankets, like you'd wet the curtains or you'd wet the blankets and leave them in the window. And it would evaporate outside and it'd pull the hot air out and cool you off. It was amazing.
So cool. Breeze, yeah.
Government's asking, what's it called? What's what called? I may have missed something.
The stove barrel kit, is that what I'm talking about? I'm
wondering if that's what she's asking about. But
you can find them on Amazon. Just type in a barrel stove kit, something like that. Vogelzang. That's where I got those on Amazon.
Vogelzang.
Yeah, I think it's German.
Sounds very German.
Yes. And it comes. There's a couple different versions.
I just typed in
double barrel or such.
I just typed in barrel stove kit for 55-gallon drum, and it came up.
Cool.
There you go. Yes, you can find it all on Amazon.
Yeah, the good thing about Amazon is that if you order everything from the same place, you'll only have one person or one group that knows everything you've got. So they'll come to your house.
But unfortunately, that's all the one big same company, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They have all the data. They have everything. So
they already know
store.
Everything.
Oh, she's asking about the store. Store is Smith and Edwards. I had the wrong name originally, but Smith and Edwards. Yeah. It was started out as an Army Navy surplus. It also has an Ace Hardware in it and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's one of my favorite stores I've ever come across in the whole dang world.
That's where I got my Tony Lamas.
Where you got what?
My Tony Lamas.
Oh, there you go. Pretty much all my cordage, my ropes, a couple of my backpacks.
They have a killer cordage section, I tell you. They got a killer rope section. Holy cow.
Yes, they do. You can buy pretty much any kind of rope by the foot, any kind of cordage, chains, cables, anything by the foot.
Like got all kinds of traps, animal traps, and snares and all that stuff. Yeah, it's a fantastic store. Anyway, so we want to keep going on that topic, or we want to maybe switch over to what were you gonna say, Scott?
Well, you got me onto traps. So I have traps. I bought mine there as well. I've got foot traps, but I also have some live catch traps. I plan on using those when things go sideways because we have all kinds of wildlife around here. Not just my neighbor's cat. That'll get eaten by something else pretty fast. But what's eating that, I'm hoping to trap as well. We've got squirrels. We've got so many different things you can trap where we live. I'm going to be just setting everything up. And
it's a passive way to get some food as well. Very passive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love passive solutions for preparedness. Like a garden isn't completely passive, but a fruit tree is mostly passive. A lot of the different things you can do, grapevines are mostly passive. Like those are the types of things that can produce year after year after year, setting up permaculture solutions. It'll cost you a little bit more right now, but then as it's producing for the rest of its lifetime, which oftentimes could be longer than your lifetime, it's producing. And it's going to decrease costs in the future.
And I guess going back to the heating real quick, if you don't have a wood pile, you better start stocking up some wood, right? Coal is a great thing to stock up on as well. But yeah, do that before it's too late, before winter comes around and you can't get it.
Get a bunch of those Kingston charcoals bags.
Yep, that's a good way to cook as well.
Or whatever generic version. I mean, I said the brand name Kingston, but it's whatever charcoal bags you want to get. We're not sponsored by Kingston, but maybe we got to look at that.
We should look into that. So yeah, you got to have the fuel, right? Gasoline, propane. So you can get the 20 pound containers or the 100-pound water tanks for barbecues. That's another way to cook when you don't have power. I wouldn't recommend bringing that in the house, for heating that way. No. But maybe bring it in the garage and cook in the garage and ventilate it there. But
yeah, even talking to that comment about don't let your insurance know about it. I called my homeowner's insurance, because I wanted to store a bunch of those propane tanks, the big white ones, like the ones that are for your.
Don't even ask permission. Don't even ask.
Well, I don't want my house to blow up, and then they find out that's what did it, and then they don't pay for anything at the same time either. So the ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, they said as long as you keep a reasonable amount, 5 or 6 would be okay. They would still be fine with that. So I was like, okay, that's about all I need anyways, or all you can really, have space for. So so double check with that in case. I remember a guy back where I used to live in California. He had the whole side of his house was lined up with propane tanks along the side of his house.
Oh, really? Yeah, Did you see the video? I just saw a video that came out where there's a family. They're out front lighting their fireworks for the 4th, and the van is parked there. The back of the van is open. Spark gets into the back of the van, and the whole thing just catches on fire. And they're shooting fireworks out of the back of the van. That's a bad day. That's a bad day.
Well, it looked like there were like boxes at the back of the van that were like in and out of the van. And so like it hit the boxes, that lights goes into the van. Like it shot a couple of kids, got shot in the leg, and you can see them like grabbing their leg and like hobbling away. I'm like, society, we are stupid. Like there's so much about us that is stupid. We do dumb things. And that's why they have warning labels on everything. And I think if they just took that back away, we would solve all the problems we have.
Natural selection is what it's called, right?
Yeah, we would solve so many problems, and life would just be so much easier if
that's awesome.
If that was just removed, take off the warning labels. Oh my word!
Yeah, so power is going to be an issue, I think, in the future. So we talked about the power banks, generators. Just got to look into different options. And I think the number one thing is just learn to live with less, right? Learn to be able to do the things you do every day with no or little power, right? There's definitely ways you can change your lifestyle and do with less energy, right? In a lot of cases, you just don't need it. You just don't need that much, very much electricity. But then you can also
most electricity that a house uses is the electricity running the furnace and the cooling. That's where most electricity is wasted in every home. The light bulbs we use now are like pennies compared to what they used to be.
Well, your TV monitors, your big screen TVs, they suck up a lot of power too. So you can do with those.
And they're getting and they use less and less going forward. Have you noticed that? Mm-hmm. Like now you can buy Energy Star TVs. 6 years ago you couldn't. I'm like they use less output. You don't need the giant TV either, and especially when the grid's down, you're not going to have a TV going anyways. Like you're going to force your kids to read, which we should be doing anyways. Yeah. That's the other thing is like when the energy's gone, if there's no energy, what are you going to spend your time doing?
Yeah. Most people I'm just generalizing, but a lot of people spend their time on TV and on their social media, right? On their devices. Absolutely. We should be working in your garden, right?
Right. I think what's going to happen is we're going to see a lot of people getting in better shape, and myself included. We're going to be eating healthier. We're going to be more well-equipped. We're going to be more well-rounded because we're learning new skills because we have to. We're not going to be able to just call, Bob's handyman service and have him come fix something for us. We're going to have to figure it out ourselves. Knock on your neighbor's door and be like, hey, man, power's out and I don't know how to fix this. You know how to fix this? Oh, no, but so-and-so down the street does. Give them a call. They might be able to help you out. And they'll come over and like, yeah, I can help you out for a chicken. Give me one of your chickens and I'll take care of it. Yeah. Sweet, right? We're going to move to more of a barter society, the way things used to be. everything's going to cycle back historically to the way things used to be, which is that's Shane's favorite thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
NER, I ain't got time for TV. And really, we don't. None of us do, and yet we still.
I don't have time for this, but I'm here.
Yeah. We got a couple comments from Facebook. One says, agreed, need to store food, fuel, and water because food shortages are coming at the next 3 years. Crystal Perkins says hot tubs suck a lot of energy too.
Yes, they do.
And then this one, he did not ask to. He's remaining anonymous as Facebook user. Don't get fooled by most of the solar companies. The way they are set up, if the grid goes down, so does your solar unless you have batteries.
Yep, just like we were talking,
really
they can't backfeed into the grid because that would also be dangerous for the lineman as well. So they have to be the right kind of equipment to charge batteries and shut down the connection to the grid. So yeah, most solar companies, they don't offer that because it costs more money. And then when it costs more money, it doesn't make as much financial sense. So you're probably not going to make the choice to switch to solar because it costs too much. So they make it as inexpensive as possible. And then you can't use it when the grid goes down.
Yeah. Well, in cooking, like if we don't have electricity, how are you guys going to cook?
I have electric range stop. Yeah.
Right.
Electric microwave.
Everything everyone's using right now is grid dependent. One of the things I love about the Ready Summit coming up the 28th through the 30th, we've got Sue McMillan's coming to teach. She's been teaching 20 years how to cook off grid. Solar ovens, like the sun ovens, Go Sun solar tubes, Dutch ovens, parabolic lens. Like she's done so many different things, and she's going to kind of help teach us other ways we can cook. That's one of the things. Oh, tea candle cooking. She does that. She also talks about one of the things that both Shane, you and I have one of these. Remember the Titan?
The Titan tea kettle stoves.
Titan Ready stoves.
Yeah.
I remember you did a video on yours a while ago. We've baked bread in ours. It's fantastic.
A long time ago. Yeah, they're cool.
No, it's something you have to use that one inside because the wind with tea candles is going to take all.
Mine caught on fire, dude. All the candles became one big candle, caught the wax on fire, and just made smoke like crazy. So no. I would say do it in your garage. Until you figured out how to keep that from happening. Right? Maybe use a few less candles, but yeah, it's a pretty cool little thing with just little tea lights.
The comments from Facebook. One says, "Agreed. Need to store food."
But hey, I got some hot button words I wanted to throw out there. I don't know how long you want to go, Scott. We're 43 minutes so far, but just some words I've been hearing in the media, which is kind of crazy to hear in the mainstream media, and things that we can, I think, start looking for solutions to now, at least for ourselves. Things that we can prepare for ourselves, maybe not do on a larger scale, but these words pop up all too often. The word civil war, that pops up all the time. I'm hearing that more and more. I'm hearing the word aliens more and more, right? What are they going to do with that? And of course, gun rights. And then one that has come up recently is financial martial law. I've seen that popping up more and more. So as these words pop up, I've always thought that, man, another civil war in the U.S., that's just not very likely. And I still think that's pretty low down on my list. But man, I don't know. It's keep talking about it, and you see all these clashes between the left and the right, and the good and evil, and whatever else you want to call it. But that's something. Those are some things to talk about as well. I mean, those definitely need some solutions for at least the immediate family.
Right, and to kind of go into that, like, something happened recently this week. You guys probably noticed on the news. Some stones fell down.
Mm-hmm.
You guys hear about the Georgia Guidestones?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've been watching the slow-mo footage and a lot of different footage on this. And it's like, there's so much unexplained about it. And then, let's hurry and knock them down after we've finished our lightning speed investigation. Right? I think there's going to be more and more things unexplained going forward, and more things cover up going forward, until things are just out of hand. And I think that's the direction we're going. Now, I'm not trying to say that to be an alarmist. I'm saying that to say, guys, like, the more we can be tight with our local communities, the more we can focus on setting up sustainable solutions on our property for food, having chickens, having quail, having rabbits, having something, having a garden. If you can garden year round, even better, right? You can garden indoors with the right lights, and you don't need to go buy the special solar lights. You can actually go buy garage lights that have the same whiteness, Kelvin, as the garden lights. And guess what? They're like 40% cheaper. There's a guy that I follow on TikTok that does his primary business is he grows sprouts. He sprouts seeds, and he sells those to stores, and he sells those to restaurants. And they're like, you're the best supplier we've ever had for these because it's local and we get it here faster, and there's less that's bad when we get it from you than when we get it from somewhere else. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. We could all do that. If we had a power source, you could always have something growing. And sprouts, they're dark for the first 5 days anyway, so you don't need lights for that part. There's ways you can kind of find, like, get creative and look at things that you're finding all over the web and start creating solutions for your home, solutions for you to provide and just simplify your life.
So you know what I've decided I'm going to do for my side hustle? I'm going to go be a gold miner.
Nice.
I'm going to go. I've always been in the treasure hunting thing, right? But I'm going to go out and look for gold. That's half joking, guys. That's always been a thing of mine is going out and treasure hunting, and wouldn't that just be fun? Just spend your time out in the hills, just surviving on what you find and looking for gold, living off Mother Earth, man. That's just, for me, that would just be heaven.
Well, just kind of go back onto what you were talking about, Shane, is that we are definitely looking at a very hot political scene right now with a lot of the different things that are coming out. I mean, when Roe versus Wade was overturned, think about the chaos that happened, the Georgia Guidestones, the chaos that might come out from that. I mean, we're talking about a lot of things that are trying to get us pitted against each other, to fight with one another, to be angry with one another, to be desensitized. We're having people that are having to fight just in school board meetings to be able to get their kids taught to read, write, and arithmetic. Now we're talking about all these other strange things that they want to get emotional learning into the schools. I mean, that's the job of the parent. We have a lot of different things that are happening to create this civil unrest, scenario. And it's just, to me, every time I see something get announced like that, it's almost like, okay, one, what are they distracting us from? And two, how are they trying to divide us? And that's where coming together as a community is so important, because they're going to, the elites, the world elites, they're going to try to divide us. They're going to try to keep us in chaos, because out of chaos, they can create the solution that they want. And we got to have solutions already in place. If they're going to have this chaos, that's fine. Let them, I mean, it's a free country, so to speak. If you're going to do crazy stuff, you have the agency to do it, but don't impede upon my ability to use my agency the way I want to use it. Right. That's where liberty and freedom really come into play in a large scale. You can do whatever you want, but don't infringe upon my right to do whatever I want. And so, and when you do that, we're going to have a conflict. I'm going to defend myself, whether that's with, pew sticks or whether that's with learning how to self-defense, martial arts. I mean, that's another great way to get into learning how to defend yourself, find a solution, is learning a martial art, whatever that might be, some kind of self-defense, getting into learning how to, one of the big things right now, especially with the market and the economy that's happening, is having some real strong financial foundation, just keeping yourself in a position. Don't get scared. Don't get worried. I mean, things rise and fall, and they have for centuries, but just be ready, be prepared, be watchful, and you'll be ready for what's coming, as long as you are wise about it.
I think that's the biggest thing is we need to focus on the wisdom of daily living in the present, and making sure that we're simplifying everything we're doing. Don't listen to the mainstream, whatever you want to call it. Listen to, if you don't have a relationship with God, get a relationship with God and listen to the Spirit. That's going to help you the most. I believe that firmly, because that's what's helped me the most in the worst times of my life, more than anything else. Those of you guys that are in the chats and the groups, you guys have given us some amazing things to talk about and helped us with our conversation today. and pointed us in some good things that we could do for heating and for cooling and for different things to, with the blankets, the grandma blankets and the wool blankets. Like, we can help each other. And when we're in a space where we're kind and we're thoughtful and we're mindful, it's easier to help somebody else because you're not worried as much as your neighbor might be. And when you're not worried, when you have no fear, you can become a very powerful person. And that is the message of the day, guys. Find your alternative solutions. Find ways to be more proactive in your daily prepping. Make it a lifestyle. Make it a life choice. And man, I tell you, it gives you freedom and it gives you liberty, like Paris was saying. It gives you so much more confidence on your day-to-day than anything else that I've ever come across. And we're going to leave you with that. Thanks for tuning in this week. Thanks for being here, for being part of our crazy little neighborhood that is crazy like a fox. So, and if you haven't already bought your tickets, go get your tickets for the Ready Summit. $10 off. Coupon code is Prepper Talk. PREPPERTALK. Use that code, get 10% off, and we'll see you in there. I'll be speaking at the event on the basics, assessments, and planning. So until next week, you've been warned. Now go get ready. Have some fun. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Take care, guys.